Hi, my name is Bryce. Welcome back to VHS Play, where we are playing Wild Arms 3 and recording it all on VHS. This episode is a bit of an outlier. This is the optional boss clips show extravaganza. It's not nearly as exciting as I'm trying to make it sound. Usually around here, I would be playing the game and talking over it at the same time. Technically, I am playing the game right now, but that is not what you're seeing on screen. We'll come back to that. What you're seeing on screen is the first of our optional bosses that I took care of off screen, and that is John D. Now, John D, he's out in Green Lodge, which is the house that Virginia's dad was hanging out at near Yggdrasil. There was one of those spooky portal things that you check and it's like, oh, there's something staring at you from the darkness. You use the Kramer dolls next to it, and well, hey, fight. John D, he's like a cool visual design, and like he's a fun boss to fight. He has some pretty good physical attack, and he also attacks with dark damage. And I really wish I could remember whether or not he is weak to dark at a base, or if I cast weakness darkness on him, because eventually, like, going through this fight and, very quickly reach the equilibrium point of, like, do some shoots, do some heals, do some shoots, and Gallows does magic. And over the course of the fight, eventually I realized, wait a minute, John D occasionally casts dark magic. And I have Reflect. So cast Reflect on everybody and permanence and whatnot. So then at that point, John D tries to cast this dark magic on me, and it just reflects and hits him, which he's now weak against, and it just kind of burned him down a little bit faster. But this was before I had gotten around to doing finest arts and all that stuff with Clive that turns him into an absolute monster. So it was just like whittling away slowly at his health, which he had a decent amount of, but like, yeah, it was one of those things of just like, I don't know if I want to, record this off screen or record it on screen. Let me just take a peek inside, see how long this fight is, and then got far enough in the fight it's like, I don't want to have to redo this, and like, I'll just grab some footage now. So that's why we're starting in the middle of this fight. So yeah, John D, nothing too exciting. Like, he has some good attack. He does counterattacks when you attack him. And he casts dark magic, but again, reflect that dark magic right back at him and make him weak to dark if he wasn't already. Well, hey, there you go. Most of the problem is solved. So moving on to our next boss. You might remember down in the basement of the Ark of Destiny, there was a little blue save robot dude. Turns out he's a boss. You use the Kramer dolls next to him and it will start a fight. This is Bombar. He's a good joke enemy, but he's also like a decent enough boss fight. I think I came in here pretty well over leveled, so he didn't really do much to me. He had some basic damage, but it wasn't very much, and I feel like around halfway through the fight, I don't know if it was like a specific trigger I hit, or if it was just he hadn't rolled that attack yet. He started doing this attack that can do, it can inflict the amnesia status, which really only matters for when he dies, because that prevents you from getting experience. Like, if there were any other status effects, I had immunities or resistances to them, and just nothing really happened. Like, this was a pretty bog standard fight of, like, he doesn't do enough damage to really, cause concern, and the status effects he's doing, not a big deal. Like, really the most interesting part of this fight was when I did eventually finally decide to cure, I think it was Jet, of his amnesia. It just so happened to be like that was the final turn, or like just before the final turn of combat. So it was one of those funny, just like, ooh, boy glad I'm sure I did that. But that's really about all there is about Bomber. He's a fun little kind of goofy boss. But, like, if I had come at him earlier, he probably would have been a pretty good challenge. Moving on, I do not remember, like, much at all about this boss. This is Heimdall Gazo. Again, I don't know why I didn't start recording until, you know, after I started the fight. Anyway, so Heimdall, you know, I think it was in, like, Glittering Emblem, we fought a big floating eye that did light damage, I think. And the real shake-up here is, oh, it's a big floating eye that does dark damage instead. That's really about all there is to this boss. He does dark damage. That's it. Like, it really is nothing else. He just has, like, the single target dark damage that he can do, and he also, like, counterattacks with dark damage. And I think as his counterattack, he can either use his single attack dark damage or the full party attack dark damage. So that did make him a little bit tricky, just in terms of, like, I had to be careful about how many people were attacking him in a round. And I think eventually this was the fight that kind of started chipping away at the gear usage for the mediums. I eventually decided, you know what, Jet keeps dying. I'm tired of him dying. Let me go ahead and use a dark, like, equip him with a dark ring so he stops dying. Either that or I just moved, like, Moonspark onto him or something. I don't remember, but either way, it was... I really do not remember much about this fight. Like, it was really really straightforward. It's a big floating eye that does dark damage. Woo. So, next boss. Yeah, I'm realizing it would have been a really good idea to, like, you know, double check where that book was. Here we go. This is the one. Migrant level 18 above confirmed. This book contains stimulating material. The author takes no responsibility for the content. Please enjoy at your own discretion. Do you agree to the above statement? Yeah, sure. What are we up against? This boss, I was originally going to go out and do this on camera. This one I really wanted to do on camera, but then I just realized, like, it kicked my butt. Like, this was going to be episode 97, and then, oops, this boss is mean. It's 12 books that each have, like, they have 3 options for their attack. They can do nothing. I think it's just like Melancholic Pose or something, where they just don't do anything. They can cast Grav, which will have somebody's health, or they can use Agony Effect, which is... I don't know how this ability works, but it seems to do a random amount of damage, generally like 600 to 1,000 damage, but occasionally up to like 1,600. It's a doozy. So you get 12 of these books, and they are, like, at a base faster than Gallows and Clive. So, like, I get 2 attacks. Bookending, har har. They're 12 attacks. And yeah, it was brutal, and I got my butt kicked. Game over, man. And then I realized, oh wait, hold on, they're casting Grav. That's a spell, I can reflect that. So, went back in, cast Grav. Yeah, that dealt, like, you know, lowered the damage enough, and it kind of turned into, okay, you know what, this is going to be a long fight. I'm going to put this one on pause, not do it as an episode, throw away this footage, for the most part, and then figure out something else to do. So, I kept putting this boss fight off because it was just like, okay, how do I deal with this? And it's all in the setup. What I needed to do was move things around, so specifically move a couple mediums around, so that basically, hey, cast Reflect first turn so that we survive. That's kind of just step one. Reflect needs to happen so that Grav doesn't take us down. And then after that, cool, great. Use a full carrot to get Gallows up to 100 FP and have him summon a big fiery dragon, because of course books are weak to fire. That's what this fight turned into. It was just a one-hit KO, and it was just like, it was all a matter of solving how to do this fight. So it was a really cool little puzzle boss. And then there's Virginia, like after the fight, Virginia has a little comment of, it's kind of sad how I unconsciously compare them to myself. Anyway, moving on, we have, remember when we fought Trask? Way back when in Cardingallen, Chapter 1. After we killed Trask, one of those big spooky dark portals appeared, and it real done spooked me good, but then I completely forgot about it. And Trask was that fun boss that had like tremendous physical armor to where like your attacks did either nothing or dang close to it. So you had to use like fire to heat him up and then ice to immediately cool him down to break his armor or something like that. And it's a really cool thing. And of course I had read like the hint that they wanted me to read about that and then promptly forgot. So whoops. But anyway, Power Trask, not that. Power Trask, he is instead immune to all magic damage. Oh ho ho ho. Unfortunately for Power Trask, this was after I had realized, hey, turns out, Finest Arts, real good. And also does only physical damage, and also Clive gonna wreck ya. So yeah, we basically just rolled in, powered up Clive, sent Clive in, and rip. That was Power Trask. He had like the same attack set as Trask, hit a little, hit harder than he used to. But that was Power Trask. Real dead, real fast. Alright, so moving on, we have the Telepath Tower side quest. Went ahead, started this one up because I worried about it so much in the last chapter of like making sure I unlocked it that it seemed like a waste to not do it. So, yeah, this one's real boring. It's just like 15 fights with towers that you shoot, and if you set up your gear correctly, you are just immune to any of the status effects that they throw out. So it's just 15 fights that are really dull. After the third tower, you get like a little text blurb that talks about how it sends a signal out into the sky. After the fifth tower, things get a little bit more interesting. It's like, oh, a scream cries out from the tower. And it's just like, oh, that's a little spooky. And then a creeping chaos appears. And that's the name of an enemy that is very important because I alluded to playing Wild Arms 3 while talking over this VO. It was actually yesterday's VO. It's a new day. I'm sorry. The joke is ruined. Anyway, so yeah, these creeping chaos dudes, they deal literally 0 damage, and they just deal in status effects like real hard. So they have this attack called Arc in Ciel. That is a party-wide attack that deals 7 different types of status effects, and if you're immune to these status effects, then nothing happens, except you activate personal skills, and every time you activate a personal skill, your experience multiplier goes up a little bit. So, this is where we get into the experience grinding trick, which I had been doing during the previous VO recording. I needed to do a new one now that I've actually completed the Telepath Towers quest. So, at this point, the creeping chaos enemies can now appear anywhere on the world map. So, what you do is you head out to Baskar Village, wander around in front, just walking around in a circle, wait for a white exclamation point to appear to signal you that you're fighting not the basic enemies that are natural to this area, and instead you'll run into 1, 2, 3 of these creeping chaos dudes who are worth 10,000 experience apiece. They have a good health pool, and they will sit there and just try to do status effects on you repeatedly the entire fight, and that's all they do. I think they try to do damage, but it comes up as 0. And it's real easy just turning everything onto auto combat. and letting Clive slowly shoot them to death while they build up your experience multiplier. And hey, you get your experience multiplier up to 9, and these things that are worth 10,000 suddenly become worth 90,000. And that's Emperor Marduk level experience, which is pretty cool. And again, they come in packs of 1 to 3, and with 3 of them, you're definitely going to have a really high experience multiplier. So that's what was going on during the previous recording of, while technically playing the game. It was the classic put some rubber bands around the PS2 controller and occasionally hit a button and just watch the numbers go up, and it makes your brain feel good. So at this point, everybody's level 100. Moving on, we did more of just more towers, and this is like they get easier because suddenly I'm level 100, and also I'm still immune to all the status effects, so it's just pew pew bang bang, towers are dead. After a few more towers, you get like the language kind of increases in intensity of, like, it started off as just a signal, and then it was like a scream, and then this is like a horrific cry flies out from the tower as it collapses that rends your soul and shakes the very foundation of Filgaia. It gets kind of intense, like a little like sprinkling of cosmic horror. And after the 15th tower, then hey, cool. What do I do now? There's a little cutscene of a UFO flying out into the sands, and at this point you're supposed to go and hunt down UFOs in your sandcraft, and it's really kind of dull because they're just random encounters, and you can still run into the basic enemies that are out there that just are super easy to kill. It's like the UFOs are no challenge whatsoever. It's just the hey, fire all ammo up, they're dead. So yeah, you need to kill 5 UFOs, and then you get, hey, they take back to the skies. So next up, you need to fly around with Lombardia. And this is where things kind of suck. Brief aside, hey, there's another Telepath Tower, Telepath Tower 0, that makes use of that one little area near Boot Hill that I kept saying, this seems like a really weird place to have nothing. That Telepath Tower is still a Telepath Tower, it just has more health. So, hey, I'm immune to your stuff. Shoot, bang, bang. Done. Meanwhile, back to Lombardia, flying around in circles over the desert forever, because now you need to kill 20 UFOs. This takes much longer than I would like it to. If it was 5, that'd be great. Being 20, it's just way too much. After you kill the 20 UFOs, then you get a message mentioning that the mothership is coming down. You fly around a little bit more, run into the mothership. I don't know if that's a random encounter, or if you could still run into regular UFOs at this point, but my next combat encounter was the mothership. It's just a UFO with more health, and it gets to shoot 4 piddly lasers in a round instead of just 1. It took 3 rounds of 1 round of unleashing the Dragon Blaster with Mighty Might, and then the next 2 rounds of just attacking to rebuild FP, and then I didn't get to use it on anything because it was already dead. And of course, as it exploded, my tape ran out. So, well, hey. So yeah, that's the Telepath Tower side quest. When you kill this mothership, you get the EX file key. You get like a big blob of text saying, "Hey, you did it. They are escaping, but also they're still out there." Overall, Telepath Tower, like, I really like it in terms of theme. Like, it brings in this cosmic horror, Weird West, just, like 1950s aliens stuff that it just goes with Westerns, like, really well. And in terms of theme, really like it. In terms of execution, boy howdy, this was dull. Not a fan of flying around in a circle for half an hour. Like, I had fun doing that, walking around in a circle for a couple hours, watching my experience, shoot upwards. Flying around in a circle just to track down some UFOs was real dull. Not a big fan of that, but hey, it's done. We got our EX file key. The Ventura kid mentions that, oh hey, you did it. They were retreating, but they're still out there. So, that pretty much wraps up all of the side stuff and this in-game content that I'm going to be poking around on. Wild Arms 3, like we're pretty much there. I'm ready to go into the final dungeon. Over the weekend, I might take a dive into the Abyss just to check it out, but also, we'll see. If you want to see anything about the Abyss, please let me know as soon as possible, because if nobody wants to see it, I might not record it. It's one of those things of I might gather some random footage of it and throw some things together, but also editing is hard. But right now, plan is next week we're going to start heading into the endgame dungeon. We're probably really over-leveled for it. And yeah, we're wrapping up Wild Arms 3 soon. So, also the adventure book series, if you just want to have that read to you, let me know. I'll do it. It'll be a side series thing, not a major, Tuesday, Thursday feature. But yeah, we're wrapping up Wild Arms 3, which means we're moving on to a new game soon. So please let me know if you have any requests, or if there's anything you really think would be interesting to see given the VHS treatment. My two top picks are leaning towards Mario 64 or Dark Souls. These are just kind of comfort food games for me. So yeah. Let me know if you have any suggestions. Let me know if you want to have the adventure book series read to you. Let me know if you want to see any of the Abyss. Otherwise, next week, starting in on that final dungeon stuff, and we'll head into wrapping up Wild Arms 3. Don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm excited. I wanna see the conclusion of this game. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Bryce. This has been VHS Play. Have yourself a lovely evening.